Do the recording. Okay, so yesterday one minute. Yesterday we have created the base objects and then the landing tables. Okay, and I think we also created the systems, source system names, right? Now today we'll start with the staging tables creation. So to create the staging tables, go here and one minute. Fine. Go here. First, we can do it for party or child table, doesn't matters, but I'll do it for party first, right? In here, to create a staging table, right click, take a log first, right click, say add staging table. So as soon as I click on add staging table, I've already explained that it is asking me to choose some column names, right? You don't see any option where you can add a new column. You can't do that. Why? Because that's how it is. A staging table is always a sub table of the base object. So you can either choose all or you can choose some columns. Now why would I do something like this? That is, choose only 2 columns out of the 4. The reason why I would do that is, see, let's say that party type is not contributed by this source system CKR. So CKR is not contributing anything to the party type, right? So if that is the case, what I'll do, should I map it? No, because if some source system is not contributing to a field, there's no point in mapping that, right? So that's what is the use of this. So if your source provides data for that column, you choose that, otherwise you don't choose it. So let's choose here and then you name it. I like to make this thing clear. See, normally in your company, when in different projects that are there in the world, you will see these are the different convention. For base objects, it will be directly C underscore party or C underscore BO underscore party, or mostly C underscore B underscore party. Okay, and for landing table, it is LND underscore or LD underscore or L underscore. Okay, and for staging table, it is S underscore STG underscore or ST underscore. You might have any of this convention in your company, right? Okay, so I'll follow this one, STG party CKR. Reason, because full name is always better, right? And this is CKR. Okay, so yeah, now this is important. See here, what I'm trying to, this thing is the system, so it is mandatory that I choose something here. So it's not possible for me to go ahead without choosing anything here. So what is this exactly? This is nothing but my source system, the source. So this particular staging table is created for this source system. So it's clear that when you create a staging table, you must associate it with some source. All right, now we are going to create staging tables for each and every source. So first let's do this, then say okay, then another one, STG party MLO, and make it MLO, choose all, say okay. Right, now whatever I'm doing here, that's the responsibility of a developer. So admin guys responsibility will not be in this tool much. I mean, it will be there but not much, but this is simple development responsibility what we are doing. And staging table you must create, you can't import, you can't do that. So okay, so you must create that. Right, I'm muting everyone. Now similarly, let's create the staging table for the contacts. Now while creating the staging table for contacts, the procedure is pretty much the same, except there's a new thing will come into picture. That new thing, let's try to understand. Why do we need that? Let's try to understand. So if I go here, all right, now see here, right? See, when I'm trying to load the base object, I can see the name, organization name, status, party type. I can see 4 columns, right? And can I load all these columns? Let's say all 5 columns from the source? No. The row ID object, I can't load it from the source. Although there is a way, we'll see, but as of now, just assume it can't be done. So row ID object, you can't specify from the source, let's say, right? Name, organization name, status, party type. These values, you can easily specify these values from the source, right? Now let's talk about here. Here, same thing, row ID object, party ID. So this thing, I can load it from the source. Now what about party ID? Can I load party ID from the source? Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? What I'm trying to say here is, like, can I load this party ID from the landing table to staging to base object? No, I can't, because this party ID cannot come from the source. Because what is this party ID? This party ID is equal to the row ID object of the parent. So it means that this is a foreign key which is actually pointing to the row ID object here. It's pointing to the row ID object here. All right. Now, since that is the case, I can't load it from the source. It's impossible to do that. So I must, but I must load it. I can't do it from the source, but I must load that. And
Sorry,
yeah,
base object table is its tables is target tables or like it's a source tables.
this is target table base object. This is all these are actually MDM tables, out of which base object is the ultimate table. These two are processing tables.
Okay, landing and staging table is source tables, right?
These are not exactly source. I mean, these are part of your MDM only. Source is will be there in the source that will be loaded to the landing table using ETL.
Okay.
Okay, so using
From
ETL,
landing to staging tables, we are loading or
yeah, landing to staging table, we will be loading that using a mapping.
okay. And from staging to base objects,
Right, from
next
staging,
step.
next step, staging to base object.
Okay.
Okay, right. So party ID is something that I cannot load it from the source. So I must find a method. What I must do is, see, when I'm loading staging table to the this here, I can supply values for this. I can do that, but party ID cannot supply value. So I must do something to get this value, and that's called as lookup translation. So what I will do is, the logic is like this, very simple. See, I have a party ID from the source. What is this party ID? This party ID in the landing and staging table is the source key. So this is nothing but this two is nothing but that's my source key from the source. All right, source key, or you can say native key, whatever it is, right? And you will also see that that source key will also be here. Same source key will be there in the parent also as the party ID, right? But first, let's try to understand. My objective is very simple, that I want to load the party table first, then I want to load the address table, address and contacts. And if I try to do the reverse, that is loading address first then party, it should throw me an error, definitely, right? So the logic is like this. First, you load the party table. When you're loading the party table, you have this column party ID. Now that party ID will be mapped to PKSRC object, column in the staging table. And this PKSRC object will be stored in the cross-reference table, that is the XREF table. Okay, XREF table you can see here. This PKSRC object will not be stored in the base object. Clear? It will be stored in the cross reference. Why? See, base object is a dedicated table. Base object is not a junkyard. It's a dedicated table that will store only the master information. That is something that is mastered. Now the question is, can I master source keys? No. Keys can never be mastered. Facts, keys, you can't master that. So since I can't master it, I'm storing that in the duplicate table. That's the cross-reference table. So when I do the load, when I load this customer, you will see this key in this column in the cross-reference table. So it means that when I have loaded a record, let's say when I've loaded a record, then in the party xref table, that record is loaded and this will contain the source key. So when I'm loading the address, what I will do is here also I have the source key. So I will do a lookup on this source key. I'm muting, I'm getting a lot of disturbance. Okay, then see here. So this is the source key, same source key here. What I will do here is while loading, I'll do something called as lookup configuration. What will happen here is, see, this will look upon this table and in return it will get this value, that is the row ID object, and that row ID object will be stored in here. That's what is called as the lookup translation. I'm looking into the parent cross-reference table to do the replacement.
These are the primary key and foreign key relationship there.
Yeah, primary key foreign key relationships. Okay, then so that's what we are trying to configure. If I go here, then add staging table for the child. So I need to configure lookup here also, additional step. So first select all the columns, then name it first of all, STG, then this is contacts, then let's say CKR. All right, this is CKR. This is fine. Now you just observe this box here. Okay, so just observe this box. So when I click on party ID, you see this is enabled. If I click on anything else, it's not enabled. When I click on party ID back, it's enabled. Why is it so? It is because party ID is a foreign key. So you can see that clearly, party ID is a foreign key. So this lookup configuration is something that will be enabled for foreign keys. That should be clear. It's enabled for the foreign keys, right? Now to configure that, it's very simple. Whatever I have explained, that I would like to look up into the parent cross-reference table. So click on that and here I go. So I'm trying to look up into the party cross-reference table. Try to understand, this is the contact table, this is my party table, and I'm trying to look up into the party cross-reference table. And in return, I'll be getting the row ID object. So where I'm specifying that I'll be getting the row ID object, you don't have to specify because that's automatic. It'll automatically come. Okay, then say okay. So this is configured now. Look up, say okay. Just copy this one. Similarly for the add staging table, now same thing. Now this one is for MLO. This one should also be MLO. Now look up when you're configuring here. This is the same thing, but make sure this is MLO. This is not CKR. Okay. Lookup is slightly confusing. So I'm not sure if you really understood this or not, but you just try to remember this because when I load the data, then it'll be completely clear how the translation happens and all that. So as of now, you just try to remember by heart. in English, simple plain English, try to by heart this. So we'll see how the practically how it's configured and why I am choosing MLO here. What's the significance if I choose something different? And if time permits, you can also go through this uh, SQL, okay, that I've shared. Alright, that's what is the lookup configuration, and for the address table also I need to configure the lookup. Okay, so on the address table also, if I go to the address table, add staging table, then configure the lookup stg underscore addr underscore ckr, copy that, then choose all, but you must configure lookup here. You understood, right? Why is it mandatory to configure the lookup? That thing should be clear because I can't load this value from the source. I must translate. So that's why I'm configuring the lookup and configure that ckr. That's okay. Say okay. Add staging table. Choose all. Now you see something like here. What is this preserve source system keys? Let's try to understand that. Preserve source system keys. Preserve source system keys means you can load uh, the source keys. Normally what do you know about row ID object? Row ID object is something that is system generated sequence value 1 2 3 4 5 6 dot dot dot. That's what it is. All right. Now let's say that you don't want Informatica to generate these values. You'd rather like to use the source values, source keys. If you want to do that, then you can use it here. When you use it, you give a limit. So let's say this is the limit. Now understand that this can only be done for this can be done only for one source system. Okay, you can't use preserve source system keys for the remaining source systems. Let's say if I say okay, just give some name, right? Let me try to create again. You don't see the option at all. Do you see the option? Preserve source system keys is gone, right? So what will happen here is for this, for this source system, the keys will be taken from the source, but for this, it will be generated by Informatica. Coming from CKR, it is generated by Informatica. For the other one, it will be taken from the source. That's the concept. Yeah, you have any doubt?
Yeah, I have one doubt here.
Right.
In which scenario we will go for this one?
Right, yeah. Which scenario and why should we go for preserve source system key? Preserve source system keys is something that you should never go in this sense. For normal base object, you should not use it. It means that if you have multiple source systems, it's better if you don't use it. Multiple source systems. It means that for lookup source systems, you can use it. Because lookup will always come from a single source. It's not possible that lookup will come from multiple source systems. Lookup means like your gender, your those kind of things, address type, and your Duns and Bradstreet. So that thing use the this preserve source system keys only for that tables. Not
And here one more thing.
yeah,
Here we give as a maximum value something, right?
right,
Like
maximum.
similarly, yeah. But do you have any way to give starting value incremented by something or something?
Starting value, it will no starting value you can't specify. Starting value, it will automatically come from 1 to that value. So if you specify like 10 lakh, so it will be 1 to 10 lakh. Your, for example, see here, this one. So preserve source system keys, if I give 10 lakh, right? So this source system keys must be between 1 to 10 lakh. And after 10 lakh, and this is generated, this CKR will be after 10 lakhs. Okay, that's the
And
concept.
one have one small doubt from the tool level.
No, I didn't get you.
Like I have a small doubt from the tool level.
Right.
Is there any option in help button about how to create a staging table
this thing in help, but
Your voice is
help
like
option.
breaking. It's like a red.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's
Is it
okay,
working?
but there's a lot of disturbance. Yeah, I can hear you, but still.
Like staging. If I want to search something, any help from the Informatica MDM tool. Like for suppose if I want to create a staging table, is any help options from the tool level?
From tool level, no. There's not much help option. You have to go and check the configuration guide. So in the books, you have something called as a configuration guide. So you will find all documentation here, configuration guide.
Okay, fine, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enough. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Right, now let's complete this. Let's create the staging table for MLO. MLO, this, MLO, and choose all. And for this thing, create the MLO. Done. Right. Before I say OK, I can see two more options here. Allow null update, allow null foreign keys. Right. Allow null foreign keys means you can understand what does it mean. Allow null foreign keys means if you choose it, then if the foreign key can be null, so which is something that you don't want, you should not um, allow that. But allow null update means you're giving more values, more privilege to null. See, by default what Informatica does is Informatica gives very less weightage to null values. It means Informatica thinks by default that something is better than null. It's better if you have something rather than null. So based on that concept, it'll try to make the not null value as a survivor. But if you want to give equal importance to null and not null, like not null values, then you can choose that. So normally not used. Say okay. So that creates the staging table, right? Now, once staging table is done, now we can move ahead into the trust part. Trust is typically configured in systems and trust, right? Now, when I go here in systems and trust, then yeah, the cross-reference table is something that is created automatically. That's what I have shown you yesterday, that when you create a base object, the cross-reference table, xref table, is automatically created. So you don't have to create that. Okay, it's created automatically, and it's more important thing is it's maintained automatically. Maintained automatically in the sense you don't need to insert any values into the cross-reference. Who will do it then? Informatica does it for you. So you don't need to do that. You should not do it because that would be corruption. I mean like data corruption, right? And if you go and check the this thing, you will see that party is there, party cross reference is there. So it's created automatically. Right. Now trust. When I click on trust, I don't see anything. At least I can't see any column, nothing. How do I configure it? So the first step to configure trust is you go to the schema. In the schema, you have this party table. All right. Now here you go and you see something called as trust, right? If I go select this four, it means that trust is enabled for these four columns. Let's say if I do this, what does it mean? It means that trust is enabled for only first two columns, but last two columns, trust is not enabled. All right. Now, question that should I enable trust for all the columns? No. Trust is a expensive feature. It's a expensive thing. Now you should enable trust only if you need it. How will you know if you need something or not? See, logic is simple. If you feel that, if you, let's say you have two coffee machines, right? Now, both are completely identical, same, all right? You take coffee from here, from there, does not matter. So in that case, you don't need to go for trust. But let's say you have a coffee machine from Europe, another coffee machine from Brazil, another one from US, and you feel that the taste is different, then you will definitely look that, then you need the trust. So you want the coffee, but you don't know which machine is the best. So where the coffee is the sweetest or the best. So what you will do, you will see the rating either in Amazon or somewhere. You will see the rating that okay, this Brazilian coffee is very good, and the rating is like 9 out of 10, remaining it is 7 out of 10, like US 7 out of 10, uh, Europe 8 out of 10. Then you'll take the Brazilian coffee. So it's the same concept here. It means that, let's say the status, right? Now status will be contributed by multiple source systems. Now the question is, does it does it make any difference if you get the status from CKR or MLO? Is it any different, or if it really does not matter if it's coming from CKR or MLO or anything, then you don't need to use trust. But let's say name. Okay, name, if I'm getting from CKR, then it's not that good. It's okay, but not that good. But if I get it from MLO, it's excellent because they stored the names in a proper way. That's when you need to go with the trust. And technically, you should try to configure trust on less than 20 columns. You should not exceed this thing. If you try to configure trust for more than 20 columns, you will face issues. Okay, so that's the thing about trust. Now let's try to configure. If I go to systems and trust and just save it here, then you see that, okay, I can see the table name now. All right, now if I go and click on name, then I can see MLO CKR. Right, now let's say that if I go and create one more source system, let's say just say MCCS, and if I go back here, I don't see the system MCCS. You understand? I can see MLO, CKR, admin, but I don't see MCCS. So how can I add that? I'd like to configure the scores. I'd like to add that. Right click, nothing comes up. So to add that, if you create a staging table, then that will come automatically. For example, if I go here and just concentrate here a bit. So add staging table. Now STG party MCCS, right? This is MCCS. Now just say that I only select the name. I'm not selecting organization name. It means that, just check, just understand, just remember that we have just selected the name. Say okay, go here, then see here. When I click on name, I can see MCCS. But when I click on organization name, I don't see MCCS. Why? Because I have not mapped it. I'm not mapping that. So that's why I can't see it. Right? It's simple logic. So anyway, I would remove that. Okay, now about this scores. So first of all, just think that this is not there. Let's first concentrate on these scores. Let's say that the logic is simple. Let's say that if I give 90 and 80 and let's say 95, right? Admin source system is special. Special in the sense it's system defined source system. So you will see that if I go here, then this is in blue. Remaining things are in black, but admin is in blue. So admin is special. What's the use? You will practically see the usage later, but basically what it does is, if you do any manual overrides or anything manual, any manual step if you do, then it will be treated as if it's coming from admin. That's what is the use of admin, right? Now, so normally admin is not used. CKR MLO will be used. It means that if I'm getting a name here from CKR, I'm getting the name as let's say Sunil, and from MLO I'm getting the name as Sunil K. Sunil K. So which one will I pick? Should I pick? Or will the system pick? MLO. Why? Because it's 90. So this will be my survivor. Right? That's what this trust thing is. Now that's okay. I think that's, you understood that. But why do we see maximum minimum? I mean, you see something maximum, you see
Hi.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's no trust case. Actually, in the like while we are dealing with a real-time project, trust case will be provided by the business analyst, or we have to define ourselves. How?
Okay. Right. I'll explain that now. I think there is some problem with your microphone. Today it's fine, no problem, but you try to change that. Okay.
Yeah, sure,
No, no,
sure.
the problem is
Tomorrow.
actually I don't have problem. I can still hear, but the thing is the session is recorded, right? So while you're
Yeah.
going through that, then it will be difficult. So you will see disturbance in the record session. No problem. That's fine. Okay. Right. Now the question was that who will configure the trust in like what kind of role? Is it a business analyst, the business guy, developer? Who will do it? So the trust, when we're talking about trust, there is something that's see here. I think it's a long story a bit. So I'll open this document. See, this is the life cycle of an MDM project. So in the life cycle of an MDM project, you see something called as client. So that's the client. You know what's the client, right? And the data steward who sits on the top of the cycle. Why? Because he is important. He has complete knowledge on data. And then a BRR. So architect will sit here after the data steward. So this is direct business guys, then data steward who is the bridge between business and you, and he will be responsible for business request document or the business request. It means that the first proposition will come to the data steward, will be proposed by the data steward. Then the architect, so data steward will contact the architect. He will give him the BR document, business request document, and that will contain that, okay, we want to do this, that's it, nothing more, we just want to integrate that. BRR document will be created by the architect, which will contain the solution. So this is the business request review solution document, right? Now the architect, for the architect to create this document, actually this is in parallel. The data profiling should happen parallelly when the BRR is getting created, right? So what is data profiling? That's the most important step. It's a very easy thing, data profiling. Even though it's easy, it's quite important in especially MDM. And I wouldn't say MDM just because in data warehouses also it's quite important. What is data profiling? Data profiling means understanding the data, analyzing the data. Understanding means understanding the issues in data, right? And for example, a if I open a data profile, like this is a data profile, how that is done, uh, you have many free tools that you can use to do it. And if you want to use Informatica tools, then you have to do using Informatica IDQ. So in IDQ you have Informatica analyst tool, so using that you have to do this data profiling, right? Now normally who will do it, the data profiling? You won't do it. As an MDM developer, you are not responsible for that, right? There is a separate resource, not even IDQ. So separate role will be there. That's the data profiler role. Normally he will be in onshore side. Okay. And as a result, you will create this document. So which will give you an idea on the data. For example, this is my file and this file contains this column, customer. Customer is name of the column. All right. Now this column, total data in the file is this much distinct, this percentage unique, and this many nulls, this many percentage null, maximum values, minimum values, then percentage uniqueness, nullness, and all the special pattern, frequency levels, any special pattern in the data. For example, let's say only value is Netherlands NL, let's say, and you have different statuses. Let's say I know what is open, probably it's active, and inactive is inactive. What is this? I have no idea. So that, who will answer this question? The data steward should answer, or the source guys should tell me what is this, right? So you will get all this information in the data profiling. Now data profiling is something that can be basic as well as advanced. Basic is something that I've just shown you. Advanced data profiling in the sense you will also validate the source data against a set of rules. So when you validate, you will understand that, okay, so around 1% of customers are failing this validation. All right. Now different logics like that. Then you can also do a matching to understand that, okay, without this, what's the matching result? Sorry, with this number, what is the result? The result is it's very poor matching, right? And without this, what is the result? It's very good mapping. That is matching, not mapping, matching, and it's excellent matching, match results, 80%, and a lot of other things. But what we are looking is, see, first we'll do a data profiling. When we do data profiling, we will understand all the important columns. How will I know something is important? If something is unique, then definitely it is an important contributor, right? And then what I'll do is, see, to create the trust sheet, see, this will be done by the business analyst. He will work with the data profiler to create the trust sheet. Okay, and how it's done, see here. So I have a name column. All right, now I will rank the top contributors. For example, let's say CKR, MLO, MCCS, Fiber, then fact. How will I know that CKR is the best contributor? Then MLO. First is data profiling, data quality. If I feel that in CKR the data quality is good compared to MLO, then I can definitely use CKR as the best contributor. But that information itself is not enough. There are two things. Data profiling is one thing. Second, and the most important thing is the input from business. That is data steward. So see, uh, in your data profiling, you found that some column is really good. It does not mean that it is actually good. You have to review it from the data steward. Now the data steward will tell you that, okay, if you take the name from CKR, that's definitely good because they maintain these rules. These are the cleansing rules, and because of these reasons, it's definitely better than this. So he'll give you a rank on this. Then you do some analysis. You means the business analyst. Then you give scores like, so you give scores like this from top to bottom, right? And decreasing order. That's it. That's as a result of that, you will see that this trust sheet, this is called as a trust sheet. This will be created, and in a real-time project, it will be something like this. Okay, so in the real-time project, you will get a document something like this kind of document. For every table, it will contain the trust settings. Let's say for party, and let's talk about the just birth date, right? Now these are all my source systems. Typically 37 source systems are there for this project. All right, now for this source system the trust is 90. If it is coming from this, it's 30. If it's coming from here, then 50, then dot dot dot. That's the configuration, right? Who will create this? Business analyst. What is your responsibility? Your responsibility is that you take this document and then whatever is there, you recreate that thing in this tool. Now, can I import that? No, you can't do it. You can't import it. Although there is a way, I mean, you can go to the backend tables and update it, but still that's unnecessary risk. So better you just go and put it here, right? And now if you go and check it, you will see that I'll just tell you the name of the backend tables. So C repos sys call trust. Yeah, this is the table. Here the trust scores will be stored. So you can see that here. Let's say that I've not saved it, right? So let me save it, then check it. So let's save it. Then I can expect something here. All right, see here. 95, 90, 80. So if you're talking about directly fixing that, yeah, you can do it, but it's risky because if you corrupt this table, then it's gone. So that's a headache. So if you're intelligent enough, you can do it here. Otherwise, you do it there. But still, even if you're intelligent, you should not take that risk. It's unnecessary risk. Yeah, I have one question. Yeah, in MDM tool, you need to go here and you need to, no, see, if you change it here in this table, you don't need to change it. Again, you don't need to go and change it here. For example, see, let's say this is CKR, this is 80, right? So let's say that, 1 minute, I'll change it to 85 and say commit. I've changed this to 85. So normally, if there are no issues, if you release the lock and if you take it, then you should, yeah, here I go, 85. Can you see? 85. So it's working fine.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh, Actually, this trust is, say, for example, take your coffee machine example. Okay, we selected Brazil as a suitable one. Assume that, okay, say we are not happy with that. So over the period, we may trust the other system, correct?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, say for example, our code may be moved to the production or UAT, some other case. So if there is any change in the trust, so will it be considered as a change request? Because again, we need to come back and
Yeah,
change in
if there is
MDM.
a change in trust, it's a very big thing because it will
Yeah.
impact very hugely because let's say you have 10 million records and if you change this to 90, this to 80, then that is there are two things you need to do. You have something called as a synchronized job, so you need to run the synchronized job. Now this job will only come if you change the trust settings. Then you will see this thing, and then after that you have to again recalculate the best version of truth. So for example, let's say,
Yeah.
so CKR Sunil and MLO Sunil K. Let's say this trust is 90 and this is 100, right? So the survivor will be Sunil K, currently in MDM. Simple scenario, right? Now let's say
Yeah.
I change this to 90 and this to 100. So what will happen to the survivor? It won't change. It won't change by default. It will remain as it is. So you need to
Yeah.
go and you need to run some jobs that is called as recalculate best version of truth, BVT job. You need to run this in the safe. Once you run it, then again it will do the calculation and then the survivor is Sunil. So now
So
if you
before
have,
that, we need to come and change this in the staging level. We have to change that trust manually, correct?
yeah, here you have to go and change the trust manually, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So you, generally in real time, so once trust is decided, mostly 95% it won't be changed during the project life cycle, correct?
No, it won't change it because that is not done on a single day. So the decision, the
Yeah.
trust sheet and the mapping sheet and the match sheet, especially the match and the trust sheet, it takes almost like 2-3 months of research
This is a
to,
lot of analysis happening.
yeah, lot of research and analysis. Then only it will be finalized.
One more question, by the way. So we are at the staging process now. Is it the right place to validate, no, define the trust, or I mean, before we go to the, original actually base table load, so we need to configure the trust. No, this is the place to configure the trust.
Yeah, this is the
We
time.
cannot
Once you
configure.
create the staging table, you have to configure the trust. That's the correct
Okay,
method.
so yeah, yeah. Thanks, Sunil.
Right. Now you configure the trust for name, then organization name, right? That's the proper procedure, how it's done. Now, I see something called as maximum minimum. Now, trust score is okay. It's very clear. What is this maximum minimum? I don't understand. Maximum minimum means, to understand maximum minimum, let's try to go through a simple example. Let's say that I'm taking let's say in January, uh, a person took a connection from Airtel. January 2016, he took a connection from Airtel, and right, simple connection, name is Sunil. Right. Now, let's say in as time goes by, so what Sunil did is he took the SIM connection, but he didn't use it. I mean, he activated that one, and then he opened the dustbin, and then he just thrown that thing, or just he opened the closet and he just put it there, right? So you will see that after 6 months, if you still don't use it, on June 2016, they will deactivate the connection, deactivate your connection, right? That's a natural thing that happens. So are you understanding? On January, I'm considered as a very trustworthy, very good customer. Why? Because a customer is always very good. Because you understand, right? Now, if I don't use the service, then my customer relationship degrades, and it goes to the bottommost, to a place where it's ultimately deactivated, right? It means that if I don't use the service, it means the quality, or you can say if I don't use, see, first of all, why does Airtel do it, or any telecom company, they do it because they feel that you are not using the service. It means probably you are not interested in their service anymore. So finally, one day they will feel, that is in June 2016, they feel that there's no point in doing business with you, so they remove you off, right? So it means that quality of the data degrades if it's not updated. The logic is very simple. Another example, let's say in June, let's say in 2010, you took the phone number of a person. Let's say there is a person called as Indian Amit. Now you called him, and then he said that, okay, this is my number, this is my phone number. Now in 2016, you you have not contacted that person for last 6 years. You have not contacted the person for last 6 years, and suddenly if you try to call this number, what do you think? Will it work? What are the chances? Probably very less chances are that this number might work. Why? You understand? Data, this data is not trustworthy anymore because it's old. So a data that is not regularly updated, that is should the trust degrades. It means in 2010, when you call the guy, he gave this number, you verified it. What is the level of trust? 100. Because it's a gunshot, you call him, you catch him. But in 2012, the trust, if I talk about score, it should reduce 80, then fall down, then gradually probably 0. So naturally in our lives, in any company or anywhere, you will see that data, if it's not regularly updated, the trust automatically degrades. So to support that feature, you have this maximum minimum. So what I'll do is I'll make this 90, I'll make this 40, and this is 12 month. All right, 12 month. So 1 minute, 12 month. It means that initially, so right now, if I get a record, the trust will be 90. And if it's not updated, then the trust will fall to 40 in a period of 12 months. It means after 6 months, what will be the trust? It will be somewhere around 60. So you can check the graph for that. So after 6 months, probably somewhere over here. So almost like, I think somewhere over here. You can check it. Okay. So Jan, July, something like this, 75 something. That's what is the meaning of this maximum minimum. And now let's say that, let's take this example only. In 2010, you took this. So the trust is 100. Now in 2014, what you did is you called this guy again, right? Then it's working. You called him, he responded. Then what should be the level of trust again? 100. So again, it gets the higher value. Here also, it's 90. After 6 months, if the data is not updated, it's somewhere around 70. But after 6 months, let's say that the customer gets an update. If the customer gets an update, the score will again become maximum, that is 90. It will again pick the maximum value, 90. That's this mechanism of trust. And the graph, normally we always choose linear, as you can see in this project. So month, 36 month, normally we choose linear. So 36 month, and this is linear. Linear means straight line, right? These two are not used, but what it means is this is what you say, fat, something like a convex, this is concave, hollow, right? How the trust falls. Clear? Now let's say that this is also 90. This is, see, let's say you don't want to, you're saying that I don't want to use the degradation. I'm not interested in that. So you make it 90. So 90 means you see this is a straight line. It means that the trust will never degrade. No matter what, trust will never degrade. Right? And let's say that the trust settings for MLO, and let's say all of these are 90. Then now what will happen? The trust is 90 for all. Let's say this is also 12. So if the trust settings are same, then how the survivor will be calculated? The survivor will be calculated based on, let's say all the settings are same. I'll just make this linear, 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 all straight line, right?
So
Then
who will create the trust definite?
the business analyst,
MDM developer?
business analyst.
Okay. Okay. In case suppose if any changes getting in that time also, it will change the business analyst, right?
Right.
Okay. Developer, it's not do anything.
No, developer will not be involved here.
Okay.
Sunil, I'm sorry to interrupt. Actually, I have one more question. Say, for example, we have a three system, MLO, admin, and CKR. Say, for example, one more system called X. Okay.
Okay.
If particular, say, let us take a name. Okay. The name in MLO is a trusty one. So obviously we are telling that that is a part of a golden record, no? Because correct me if I'm wrong. That is a part of golden record, no? So what is the use of defining the trust here? Obviously that is a trustworthy, so you can put it as a no. You can select the name from that system, and we can go to the golden record, right?
No, that's what we have name coming from multiple source systems. So this
Multiple source system.
is right.
Yeah. Correct. At each and every source system, say for example, here we are defining so maximum is 90. Okay,
Right.
we'll go to CKR and there we define maximum is 80. The
Right.
trust sheet itself is saying that, so okay, this is 90 and that is 80. Obviously, that sheet itself is saying that, okay, the name from MLO is a trustworthy name, no? Then we can take it for, right? As a
Right.
part of golden record. So,
That is what we will take it, right? That's what we will do. Based on this course only the survivor will be determined.
yeah, I mean, logically, I'm thinking that if you go through the complete, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not into answer so far. If you see the trust sheet completely, from the sheet itself, you can define the trustworthy golden record, no? Because are we doing complete
Yes, that's
processing
what,
by
right?
it?
Whatever sheet is there, that you will try to replicate here in this tool, and based on this information, Informatica will decide who is the survivor. If it is getting three records, one from MLO, admin, CKR. Let's say this is 890, 80, 70. Then the name will be picked from MLO. I mean, the organization name will be picked from MLO because the score is more.
Yes.
And in case of a
Yeah.
different
Manually,
column,
we
you
are not
might have
able
a
to.
different
That's why we are
survivor.
using. Yeah, yeah, got it. Manually, we are not doing. That's why, no, this tool is used. That's it. Correct,
That's
right?
what, right? So whatever you are talking verbally, the same thing will happen automatically. Whatever, same thing will happen
Yeah.
automatically.
I mean,
Okay.
so organizations are spending a lot more because no, how actually automation is taking. So okay, thanks. Got it.
All right. Okay. Now, if the score is same, the latest updated record will be picked up. So the from the source, you will see a column called as last update date. Last update date. Now that will be stored as src underscore lud in cross reference table. Okay, so whichever is record is the latest last update date, that will be the survivor if the trust is same. Now this is a common question in any interview, right? And let's say that 70, this is 1 minute, this would always be 95 or 100 probably. Why? Because uh, this means manual override. So we want to make sure that if someone is doing a manual override, someone means what? Normally it will be a data steward. So if he's doing a manual override, his changes, or whatever his changes he's doing should be considered. So it's not like what happens if you give 50 here. It means that when he's trying to change it, he can't change it because the current trust is 90 and his trust is 50. So he can never override the data. So that's why this should always be 95 or 100 probably, and save it. Right? That's what is the configuration of the trust settings. Then right. Okay, now we can move ahead. We can start the cleanse functions. Then we'll close the session after having a short session on the cleanse functions. Cleanse functions will take 2 to 3 classes because there are a lot of things that are there. Okay. So before starting cleanse functions, first of all, let's try to understand what's a mapping. Mapping is something that load data from the landing table to the staging table, right? Now, if I had to create one, right click, add mapping, let's say M, then the party table name, base object name, then the source system. You can also specify business names, or you can also specify landing table name, staging table name, but this name is always good because M means mapping, party means base object, CKR means the source system. So I can easily understand that, okay, this is something that's loading data from the landing table of CKR to the staging table of CKR. And
Party is the base table, right?
base object, yeah,
Like a target table.
right. Then the landing table, and then I will choose the party CKR. Okay, now just observe one thing. How many tables I am able to see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 6 tables, right? So just say okay. Now let me create one more. Add mapping. See how many tables it is showing? 5 tables. So STG party CKR, it's not showing anymore. It means one thing is clear. A staging table can be used only once in a mapping. You can't use a staging table in more than one mapping. Simple concept, right? Now talking about landing table, you can use a landing table in any number of mappings. No limitation on that, right? Now let's check this particular mapping. In this particular mapping, I have one source, one target. Now is it like, can I have number of sources, number of targets? No. You must have only one source, only one target. That's contradictory to ETL, where you can have thousands of source systems also, not here. Here only one source, one target, right? The source will always be this, target will be that staging table, right? Now you need to map it in the sense you connect the dots like this. So like from the source, how data will go to the target. That's what is called as a mapping. And to do that, we have a mapping sheet. That is, this is the mapping sheet. This is the mapping sheet. Using that mapping sheet, you will map the data, right? But before jumping ahead into this, what you do is in the weekend, you try to go through this mapping sheet. Okay, so at least try to understand what is mentioned here, especially if you check the examples, then you'll get complete idea, but we'll cover that later anyway. That's not the point now. Okay, but let's say that I would like to apply some data quality rules like standardization, validation, enrichment, or anything. Let's say that very simple. I would like to um, convert the source names to uppercase. So this is coming in lowercase. I'd like to convert to uppercase and then load that to the staging table. Simple requirement. If I have to do that, what I have to do is I have to go here and say add a function. See, a MDM mapping is nothing but it's a landing table, staging table that you're seeing here, plus a plus functions that is called as cleanse functions. So if I say add function, this is nothing but it's taking me to this tab here, this tab, right? So mapping is nothing but it's just a collection of some source target plus bunch of cleanse functions, right? For example, let's say add a function. I'd like to convert that to uppercase, go to the uppercase here and say okay, and then name, then the name, save it. But you will see that this is quite easy to understand and quite easy to master. Why? Because this is quite easy, user friendly. So you can directly go here and you can test it. So let's say Sunil, test it. I'm getting an error. This is not an error. The CleanseMatch server is not online. So you add the CleanseMatch server first. Now that issue should go, right? Test it. So here I am, the output. Input is Sunil, output is Sunil in uppercase. So it's very easy to actually work with these functions. Why? Because you can test it at each and every step. Okay, but in order to proceed with the mappings, we should have complete understanding on all this. So whatever you're seeing here, the string functions, noise filters, miscellaneous function, all of that, you should have complete understanding on that, right? So first let's go through the cleanse functions. Once we understand the cleanse functions, then we'll go back to the mappings, right? Now cleanse functions, start from the bottom because that's the easiest thing to do and learn. So string functions, always easy to learn, right? String functions. Now you have seen how a function is used. You just call it Just like this is just like your C++ functions that you've created in your high school. So function that does some stuff, right? Same thing like that. You call it, you send, you give a value to that, it gives you a value as output. Just like a coffee machine, you can say, you put $5, you get your coffee. So that is a function. You have an input, you have an output, you have a logic. Okay. Now let's see some other function, compress white space. This thing, and then there will be another one, trim, are brothers. Okay, so they are nearly same. The only difference is compress white space. See here, first of all let's check the trim. So if I check it here, let's say Sunil Mohanty space, test it. So here I go, the spaces from the beginning and the spaces from the end, that's removed, but not from the middle. But here if I copy paste that in compress white space, let's check it. See here, so it removes the space from the middle as well, right? But it's intelligent enough, so it removes all the spaces except one, right? So use accordingly. So wherever you need compress white space, you use that. Wherever you need this stream, you use it. First thing, if you really want to learn, you access the tool. Then what you do is, once you access the tool, you go here, you first check on this, you read the inputs. Okay, the input is a string, the output is a string, just one string, and what it does, converts a sequence of white space to a single space. You read that carefully, go to test and test it. Then you can easily understand all of this, right? So directly I will not go through this now, I'll just directly test it and show you. You can later do that. So concatenate. So this is, let's say, Sunil space Mohanty, test it, Sunil Mohanty. Simple concatenation. The limitation is 6. So if you want more than 6, you have to use twice, the function twice. Default value. So it's like, this is like NVL function, NVL. Okay, so Sunil unknown, test it, output is Sunil only, right? But if this is null, then this unknown is picked. That's what that is, right? And then we have format. So you can read that later. I'll just directly show you. So let's say 9999999 something, and I want something like this. So just converting your data to a specific format. That's all what this does. Then LPAD, padding on the left hand side. So let's say the name is Sunil. Now Sunil is SUNIL, 5 characters, right? Now I would like to convert that to 10 characters. So 10 characters. How do I do it? What should the remaining characters be? That I can specify here. Let's say hash and say test. So what will happen here? You will see 5 characters in the beginning. If I want to convert that to 15, how many hash will be there? 10 hashes. Now 10 hashes on the left hand side, right? Similarly, you have rpad, where the padding will be done on the right hand side, not on the left, right hand side. The way you have uppercase, you have lowercase. Pad adds a space at the beginning and at the end of the string. Very simple. You can go ahead and test it. Regular expression, just skip that as of now. I'll cover that later. Rpad, split and reverse, is nothing but Sunil Mohanty. So Mohanty Sunil splits that, reverses it. Simple logic. Splits it and reverses that. And then substring, pretty much same as the substring that you have in databases. The only problem is negatives are not allowed. So if you're trying to type negative values, I'm trying to type minus, I'm unable to type. So you can't use negative values. But Sunil, I'd like to extract NI from Sunil. So N occurs at 1, 2, 3, the third place, and 2 characters. I want NI, right? So test it, NI. Okay, let's say I need UNI. Okay, then the second character, third, UNI. You can test it, then it will be clear. Then the title case, this is nothing but init caps. So Sunil, MOHNTY, test it. So S capitals, M capitals, that's called as init cap. Trim, uppercase, we've already seen that. So these are all the string functions that are there, right? Now you see something called as noise filters. You can skip that as of now because we will create our own noise filters. But basically what this does is, I'll show you what this does. See, this removes noise characters. For example, let's say that I have SUNIL, something like this. Okay, and if I give this parameter, you see that this is my input with error characters and my output is Sunil, right? That's Sunil. That's what this noise removal does, but you don't need to worry about that because we will create our own. So this is something that Informatica has given as an example, but we'll create our own list, so you can skip that. We'll come to that again later. Miscellaneous functions, this is slightly difficult, so I'll directly demonstrate that instead of like I'll directly demonstrate that with a business case, then you can understand. Math functions, you know that we don't do mathematics in MDM. In data warehouse you do mathematics, not in MDM. So all these functions all these functions here to here are not much of use. I mean, like, not much used. So but saying that it's not much used, what you do is, still when you are testing, you test all these functions and see what they do because you don't know when something will be handy. Okay, so you test all of them one by one and make sure that you do it once, right? Otherwise this is not that important. Logic, but anyway, see, I'm not skipping this because it's difficult. There's nothing here like add integers, like it's 1, 2, 3. It's very simple. That's why I'm skipping, because that's, you can very easily, you can do that. Yeah, this is important, logic functions. What this does is, and means true and true is what? True, right? True and false is false. Just high school mathematics, right? True and false, false. False and false, false. Similarly, we have or, right? Here true or false is what? True, true. Similarly, we have not. So not means true, not means false, false not means true. Okay, then I have choose date. So if I say true here, then let's say this is first and this one is 31st. So if this is true, right, then the output will be first. Check it, output is first. If this is false, then output is 31st. That's what this does, this function, right? The way you have choose date, you have choose float, integer, string, same, all of data type changes, otherwise it's same. Now you have compare dates, floats, compare integers, compare strings. So compare strings, let's say. So I would say let's compare the dates. Let's even easier to understand. So first, you know that first is less than 31st. First 31st. So first is less than 31st. That's why you can see that this is coming as true. Less than is coming as true. Less than or equal to is coming as true. See, you don't need to worry how to use that, because that we will implement all this in the mapping sheet. So business point of view, how this is used, no need to worry. You try to understand technically as of now, right? So compare dates, similarly compare integers, strings, all that. And from here to here, it's all null checking. You understand? Null check means is string null. If I go here, then Sunil is a valid value. So this is coming as false. Now if I give null here, then output is coming as true. So it's a null detector. You have a lie detector, this is a null detector, right? So then geographical functions, you can delete that. The reason is Informatica has given this just as a sample. Okay, we are going to create our own list. So otherwise I will not delete that. I'll just keep it as a reference. Okay, because your business might not be in west, or your business might be in east, central, something, or your business is not restricted to let's say only these countries. Let's say your business is in China. I don't see China here, so that's why this is not useful. You've got to create your own list, right? So this is, and this is blank. Now this is also blank. You can delete this all stuff. Informatica should not provide this unnecessary folders. Okay, now last one is data conversion. There's nothing but converting from one data type to another. So format Boolean, it means what? Converts a Boolean to a string, right? Now, so Boolean, if this is true, output will be valid, otherwise it's invalid, right? So if I say if this is true, output is valid. If this is false, output is invalid. So I'm converting Boolean to string. Similarly, you can convert uh, string to get a date, right? And date to get a string, the reverse. It's very simple, right? What you do after this session in this weekend is whatever I have shown you, you test all of them rigorously, right? You will understand this simple thing that um, this is not enough. I mean, this list of functions, they are not enough. So we need to find a way to extend that. Why? You understand, right? This is not enough, because if I open Power Center, let's say an ETL tool, then you will see that there are almost like it contains an exhaustive list of functions. So that is an exhaustive list. So I'll just quickly show that. This is an ETL tool anyway. So see here, let's say uh, 1 minute functions. Yeah, so you can see that there are many functions that are there. All these are functions. That's an exhaustive list, but this is no way an exhaustive list. So does it means that this is it? No, that's not it. We can have more. So we'll see how to extend that. So in order to extend it, we have to use this graph function, regular expression function, cleanse list. Using these three features, we can extend this ability. Plus, we also have some other things. That is, we can also add a Java library or Informatica data quality library and a lot of other things. So we'll see that in the next session, right? With that, I think I will finish the session now, right? Okay, thanks guys. If you have any doubts, now you can ask me.
Sunil, the trust, right? So it looks like it is really straightforward. We are applying it in the tool where whatever the business. What if in the case of a scenario even the business is not sure that this source system having a valid record. So they'll be giving us some kind of logic, like fuzzy logic, where the new source, any of the first name, thus two name of the characters matches, then the weightage I want to give it. I want to give it on the own my logic based on
Right.
the
Yeah,
comparison
that
of two
is,
different columns.
then we have to use something called as the validation rules with the trust. So for example, it's like, let's say, like CKR, the trust is 90, and MLO, the trust is, let's say, 80. So normally this does not change. I will create a rule that if name is null, then degrade the trust by, let's say, 50 percentage. Degrade the trust by 50 percentage. For example, this thing, I will show you that. Let's say here you go and enable validation rule here, right? Then go to here and create a rule. The rule is, if name is null, then downgrade the trust by 50 percentage. So what will happen here is the trust will become 45 if that is null. So that's something that you can do to support the feature what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay. So we can write what are the conditions we needed, right? Because I
Whatever
want to check
condition
only
you
first.
want to write existence check, you can write it. If you want to write in, you can write. If you want to write refer to an external table, that also you can do it. Or if you want to write a custom SQL also, you can write.
Okay. Okay. We'll try it then.
Okay, right. Okay, any more questions, anything?
Sunil, I have a question actually.
Right, yeah.
It's regarding a tool access. I mean, yesterday I have executed those files, whatever you sent,
Okay,
but looks like they have not granted me yet access.
1 second. You have sent
Yeah.
for approval, you have sent log me in Hamachi.
Yes.
1 second.
And then in that notepad they mentioned field that access Excel and send it, but I didn't find any Excel.
No, no,
What I
Excel is
did, I just sent a mail.
not necessary, but you have
Oh,
not sent. What you do is you go here and say join network, join an existing
yeah.
network. Then here it
Hmm.
will ask you user ID password, right? So
Yes,
that
yes, I did.
thing, yeah, that thing is there in this readme.txt document. Okay, if you
Yeah,
open
after
this,
I did, I got a message like you send for approval. If you don't, I mean, if it is up, I mean, if not approved, you will get a message, something like that. I got
no,
a
but I
message
did
also.
normally if I get an approval, I will see one pending request here. Either I have approved it or I did not get a request.
Okay, and before that, yesterday I checked executing that file, that Java file. One
No,
second.
no, that is not.
Site one
That is
second.
after, not before.
Okay, then let me check now then.
Okay, and
Okay, I will
yeah,
check and let you know.
right. And I'll tell you 1 second. Uh, you'll some of you will be getting some Java error, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes. I
something
got.
like this kind of Java error. So if you get this type of Java error, you do this fix. You go to this website, or I'll just simply tell you. Uh,
Yeah.
you copy this thing here. This I'll just send it in the chart. Or safe side, everyone can do this. Okay, go here to control panels, then the Java control panels, Java security. 1 minute, is it security? Okay, 1 second. Normally in the security it should show, but for me it's not showing. No, no, 1 minute. So, okay, for me actually it's not uh, causing any issue, but you will see in the security. 1 minute. Yeah, in the security tab of the Java control panel, that is here, security tab of the Java control panel. For me, it is not showing any edit site list, but for you, you will see this edit site list. Okay, you just need to go here and add that URL. For you it will come. If it is coming, then do it. If it's not coming, then skip it. So just copy that and give the entry there. Then you will never face any issue while accessing the tool. 1 minute. I'll
Yeah, sure.
just
Let me.
copy paste this one also. Yeah. Okay, right, guys. Then we'll finish the session. Okay, thanks. I think there will be a change in the link. I'll send you the new link. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Right. Bye. Have a happy weekend. Bye.
Sure.